Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on business organization management, we have conducted sessions and we believe that all the lectures conducted under the series are watched by you, as the lectures are there on YouTube for you. So taking the series forward, today we would be talking on forms of business organizations. What are different forms of different business organizations we would be discussing today, and for this very discussion we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Asha Kiran Gupta. Dr. Asha Kiran Gupta is Associate Professor in Department of Commerce, Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. So let's welcome our guest Dr. Asha Kiran Gupta and let's try to understand the various forms of business organization. Hello ma'am, welcome to the UGC lecture.
After analyzing the meaning of business organization, business system and its environment, now today I am going to discuss with you the forms of business organization. There are various forms of business organizations such as sole proprietorship, one-person company, joint Hindu family, partnership firm, limited liability partnership firm, company and cooperative society. One should note that the sole proprietorship, joint Hindu family firm and partnership firm are non-corporate firms, while others are the corporate entities. First of all, I will discuss with you the sole proprietorship. Now, what is the meaning of sole proprietorship? As you know, sole means single. So, it is that kind of proprietorship or ownership where single person is doing each and every kind of business affair. It is the simplest and the oldest form of business ownership. It is that form of ownership where a single person is the owner of the business. Now, what do you mean by owner of the business? Owner of the business means the person who invests the whole capital in that business and who take active participation in conducting that business. It means when he is the sole authority to take each and every kind of decision, it means every control, each and every type of control is in his hands only. This means that he receives all profits and bears the all losses. When he is bearing the all losses, it means the firm and the person himself, they are standing at the same foot. It means both are the same, one and the same thing. Whatever is the loss of the business, that is the loss of the person himself, and he himself is liable to make the payment of all the liabilities. It means the person who is the sole owner or the sole proprietor of the organization, he has unlimited liability. It means when the firm fails to make all the debts, in that case, the person's private property is also included to make the payments of debts of the firm. Now, the sole proprietorship, the firm exists and the firm fails when the person dies or leaves the organization. It means sole proprietor and the sole proprietorship firm, they are one and the same thing. Now, the features of sole proprietorship. The essential features of sole proprietorship firm are: number one, there is a single ownership. Second, one-man control. Third, there is no separate legal entity of the firm, as you see in company and other forms of business organization. Fourth, the risk is not divided. And fifth is unlimited liability. And last and not the least, the feature is that there is full freedom from the government control. Now I will discuss all these features in detail. First is that there is single ownership. It means nobody else in this kind of in this type of form of organization is the owner of that firm. He with single hand he runs all the business affairs. It means it is a single man show. Second feature is that one man control. As I told you, the whole capital is invested by the person himself. He takes all the major decisions. So you can say that nobody is there to interfere in his decision. Therefore, it is a one man control. Third feature is no separate legal entity. As you will see that in company, the company is registered. but in this case the firm is not at all registered. A person himself is running the whole show, and the person and the firm, they are one and the same thing. It means the firm has no separate legal identity. Whatever the firm does, it is assumed that the person is doing. He himself is the owner of that firm, and whatever the person is doing, it is assumed that he is doing on the behalf of the firm. And when the person dies, the firm itself goes on liquidation. It means the firm dies. So in this way we can say that there is no separate legal entity. Next feature is undivided risk. As I told you that it is a single man show. The single person is investing whole amount in the business and he is taking all kinds of decisions. So whatever decisions, whatever the success or whatever is the failure, that goes on the shoulder of that single person only. So his risk is not at all divided by anybody else. Next is unlimited liability. Unlimited liability means that whatever belongs to the firm, that also belongs to that person. Whatever belongs to that person, that thing belongs to the firm. It means when the person or the firm fails to make the payments of the debts, in that case the person's assets, they are private assets, are included to make the payments of those debts. Last feature is full freedom from government control. As I told you, there is no need of registration in this case, so there is no interference of the government in the way of registration. This doesn't mean that the person will do work according to his own wishes. No, he has to work within the rules and regulatory framework which are framed by the government, but without registering that firm. So in this way we can say that there is full freedom from government control, or government does not intervene through registration, through registering this firm. Now the merits of sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship has the following benefits. First is easy to form. Yes, it is the most simplest way to form a sole proprietorship firm. Anyone can start this kind of business. Even an illiterate person can start this business. So there is no any legal compliance to be followed while starting this sole proprietorship firm. Second is great and direct motivation. Whatever is invested by the person in that firm, the profit goes in his hands. Whatever decisions are taken by him, they are absolutely under his control, and whatever efforts are put by him, they are just to create or to mint the profit from that business. So there is nobody else who will share the profits, who will share the decisions. Ultimate control is rest with the person only. So in that way we can say that he has a great and direct motivation to run that show. Next is flexibility in operations. As I told you, it is a single man show. Single person takes these decisions, so he has the authority to either to expand the business or to contract the business or to change the line or to diversify the lines. So in that way one can say that there is flexibility in operations. Next is absolute control. As you know, he is a single person who is investing, who is doing work, who is taking decisions. There is nobody else to interfere in that business. Even the government does not play any important role in running that business. So in that way he enjoys the absolute control for running this kind of business. Next is quick decisions. As you know that when more minds are there, definitely they will take more time to decide or to have a decision upon a certain issues. But when this business is run by a single person and it is a single man show and he has to take all kinds of decisions and there is no interference from anybody else, and when single mind is there, so whatever he thinks fit, he decides accordingly. So in this manner one may say that there are quick decisions in sole proprietorship firm. Next is business secrecy. When more people are working in the organization, definitely the secrets are among those people, and when the secret is in more than one mind, it doesn't remain more secret. So in sole proprietorship firm, when person is running himself the whole show, so whatever are the secrets of the business, they are with him, and nobody is there to share his secrets. Next is personal touch. In sole proprietorship firm, what happens? The single person, he has a direct contact with the customers, with the employees, and he is running the whole show. Nobody is there to share anything, any profits, any decisions, any secrecy. So in that way we can say that he gives personal touch to everyone. And last merit is that there are minimum government regulations. As I told you, the sole proprietor has to work within the legal framework which is framed by the government. This doesn't mean that the registration is compulsory for such type of firm. So the sole proprietor has to work without registration but within regulatory framework. In this way, we can say that the sole proprietorship has minimum government regulations. Though there are various merits of sole proprietorship. As you know, a coin has two faces. One is head and tail. Similarly, every form of business organization has two effects. One is merit, and on the other side, there are demerits too. Now, what are the demerits of sole proprietorship? First is unlimited liability. This is a major drawback of the sole proprietorship firm, as liability is unlimited. In case of success, everything is fine. But what happens if the business fails? If the business fails, then, and the assets of the business, they are insufficient to make payment of debts, in that case, the person's private property is also included to pay off the debts of such firm. So in that way, if the business fails, it leads to the insolvency of that sole proprietor, which is really a negative mark on his point. Next demerit is limited financial resources. As you know, the sole proprietorship firm is run by a single person, and it is very difficult for a single person to arrange various financial resources to fund his business. Since there are limited single person, so resources are also limited. Third is not so effective management. Yes, what do you mean by management? Management is an art of getting things done through others, and one may be very good in giving finance, one may be very good in taking decisions, one may not be very good in handling human beings or the social behavior. So it is very difficult for a single person or owner that he should be effective or efficient in each and every field of the business. So in that way, the business is run by a single person. So in that way, one can say that the management is not so effective, and it would have been effective if more than one mind is there to operate the business. Next is uncertainty. As I told you, that there is no separate legal entity of this firm. The sole proprietor and the firm, they are considered one and the same thing. So in that case, if the person dies, the business immediately dies on the death of the sole proprietor. So in this way, we can say that there is no perpetual succession and there is uncertainty in the life of the business. Next is limited scope for growth. As you know, the single person is taking decision. So whatever he thinks fit for the situation, he takes only that type of decisions. He may not be so dynamic. So in that way, we can say that there is limited scope for growth in case of sole proprietorship firm. After analyzing merits and demerits of sole proprietorship, now the question arises, in which type of business this sole proprietorship is useful and under in what conditions? It means if you see that sole proprietorship firm has merits as well as demerits and one is totally confused whether he should go for sole proprietorship or he should go for any other form of ownership. So, in the following conditions, this sole proprietorship firm business is useful as compared to others. These conditions are: number 1, where risk involved is moderate. For example, automobile repair shop. In this type of business, sole proprietor firm is suitable. Second, where small financial and managerial resources are required. In that case, again, sole proprietorship firm is suitable. Third, where personal taste and personal touch is required. For example, beauty parlor. In that case, sole proprietorship firm is useful. Third, where expert skill and prompt decisions are required. Again, in that case, sole proprietorship firm is required. Where demand is temporary and seasonal. As you know, in today's dynamic world, their demand is not static. The people keep on demanding new and more fashionable products. So it is advisable that you should go for sole proprietorship firm rather than in any other form of ownership. And last, where fashion is changing quickly, again in that case, you have to go for sole proprietorship firm. After understanding the meaning, merits, demerits and suitability of sole proprietorship firm, now the second form of ownership is one-person company or OPC. As you know, what do you mean by company? Company means when two or more people, they are making a group. That group is called a company, which is the English meaning. But according to commerce meaning or according to commerce, one-person company means a company which is run by a single person. Before Companies Act 2013 Amendment Act, the formation of OPC was not there. But after amendment of Companies Act 1956, which comes under 2013, it allows the formation of one-person company. As the name suggests, one-person company has one shareholder or one member or one director, etc. It means single person having various roles. That is, he is acting as a shareholder, or he is acting as a member, or he is acting as a director. But it is run by a single person only. Or in other words, you may say so, a sole proprietor with registration of that firm makes the one-person company. It means when sole proprietorship firm registered with the registrar of companies, it takes the form of one-person company. The person who is starting the one-person company has to write company's name, a suffix called OPC. It means OPC should be mentioned as a suffix with the name of the company. How the OPC can be formed? The formation of OPC involves the same procedure as that for a private limited company. Since OPC has a single person as a member, he is acting in the capacity of owner as well as director. Therefore, he has to nominate somebody else who will take charge of OPC in case of his death or disability. Note, however, one cannot appoint nominee on his own wishes. If you have appointed somebody else as a nominee, in that case, the nominee has to give his consent in writing that he will be acting as a nominee of OPC, and that should be filed with the registrar of companies. Now, what are the privileges given to OPC, or why there is need to start an OPC? The following privileges are given to OPC, such as number 1, OPC is exempt from certain procedural formalities. As you will see later on, that in formation of a company, the company or the persons who is going to start the company, that is called promoter, he has to follow certain procedural formalities which are not in case of OPC. Second, it is exempt from conducting annual general meetings and extraordinary general meetings, which you will see later on, that in case of company you have to conduct all such type of meetings. Third, no procedure has been prescribed on holding board meetings if there is one director in OPC. As I told you, there is only one director in OPC, but you may have more than one director, but the other directors will act in the capacity of employees. If it is a situation that in OPC there are more than one director, then you have to follow certain prescribed procedure. And if in OPC there is more than one director, in that case at least 2 board meetings should be held every year. Now, features of OPC. Features of OPC. It has following features. First, OPC may be registered as a private company with one member only. Second, proper provision has been given in case of death or disability of sole owner. Third, as I told you, OPC is registered with the registrar of companies, so it has a separate corporate entity of its own. Fourth, just like company, it has limited liability, and limited liability means the person is liable only to the extent of its capital contribution. Next, every OPC must have at least one director, and the last feature is the minimum share capital which has been described for an OPC is rupees 1 lakh. Now, the merits of OPC. As you have seen that in sole proprietorship there are certain demerits. In order to overcome with such demerits, now the OPC concept was introduced. So, it enjoys certain benefits. These benefits are, first, point number 1, small entrepreneur can take benefit of companies. Second, the procedure for forming the OPC is very simple. Third, running of OPC is very simple as it does not require many legal formalities. Fourth, secrecy is maintained as there is no one to share secrets of the business because single person is the owner of the business. It is the same as you have seen in sole proprietorship firm. The motivation and commitment is high due to absence of profit sharing. It is again getting the same benefit as you are getting in sole proprietorship. Next, the quick decisions are taken by him as business because business is fully owned and controlled by him all alone, as you have seen in sole proprietorship firm. Therefore, you can see that some of the benefits he is deriving from private companies and some of the benefits he is deriving from sole proprietorship. So, in conclusion, one can say that the OPC is taking benefits of both sole proprietorship firm and private company. Thank you. After discussing merits of OPC, now we will discuss about demerits of OPC. As earlier also I told you, everything has two phases, positive as well as negative. Similarly, here also, though we are having certain benefits of OPC, still we have certain demerits of OPC. Now what are those demerits? First, the life of OPC is uncertain and unstable as single person is the only member of the company. In the beginning I told you that in case of death, though nominee is there, but still when the owner is no more, in that case it definitely affects the business of OPC. So in this way we are saying that the life of OPC is uncertain and unstable. Second, it is an irony because company itself means more than two people and OPC is having only one member. So again it is a demerit. Third, a company should operate as a democratic institution. And democratic institution means that when more than one people, more than one persons are taking decisions. But in case of OPC, when it is run by a single person, it means that the decisions are taken by him himself only. He doesn't take advice from, he doesn't allow anybody else to participate in the decision making. Though he may consult number of people, but ultimate he has the authority over to take the final decisions and nobody else has any kind of interference in that kind of decision. Fourth, an OPC should be incorporated. Incorporation means that it should be registered. Registered means that it should be registered with the registrar of companies and only then it will have or it will enjoy a separate legal entity once it is registered. After understanding the meaning of OPC, its merits and demerits, now we can find out the differences between sole proprietorship firm and one person company. As you know that in both situations, in sole proprietorship firm and one person company, single person runs the whole show. Even then there are certain differences. What are those differences? We will analyze it right now. There are various bases on which we have distinguished between sole proprietorship firm and OPC. These bases are: number one, legal status. Now what is the legal status of the firm? In case of sole proprietorship firm, it is not at all registered. So the firm and the owner they are considered at one and the same thing. Whereas OPC is registered or it is incorporated, it means the OPC enjoys separate legal entity from its owner. Second basis is registration. In case of sole proprietorship firm, there is no need for registration, and the person without getting registration can run the whole show. Whereas in case of OPC, it is mandatory that registration should be there. Only then it will be called as OPC. Otherwise, it will be treated as sole proprietorship firm. So, in the case of OPC, registration is compulsory. Third is liability of the owner. In case of sole proprietorship firm, the owner has unlimited liability. It means if the assets of the firm they are insufficient to make payment of debts, in that case his private or personal property will be included to make the payments of debts. Whereas in case of OPC, the liability of the owner is limited. Limited means that his private property will not be included if the assets of the OPC are insufficient to make the payments of debts. In that way, the owner is secured. His private property or the personal property is safe. Next is setting up. In case of setting up, there is no need for paperwork in case of sole proprietorship firm, whereas some paperwork is required while starting or while incorporating OPC. The last basis for difference is formalities. In case of sole proprietorship, anyone can start business without going any legal formalities. Even an illiterate, even the person who is above 18, who is competent to enter into a contract, can start the business. But in case of OPC, definitely we have to follow certain rules and regulations for getting it registered with the registrar of companies. So in that way, we can say that yes, we have to follow certain formalities for starting up OPC. After discussing this form of ownership, now the third form of ownership is joint Hindu family. The other name of joint Hindu family is Hindu undivided family, or you may say JHF. Now, what do you mean by JHF? Joint Hindu family firm is a particular form of business organization which is found in India only. In such form of ownership, all the members of a joint family can do business jointly under the control of the head of the family, who is known as Karta. The joint Hindu family firm comes into existence by the operation of Hindu law and not because of contract. It means according to Hindu law, one can start joint Hindu family business, whereas according to Contract Act, one cannot. In this form of organization, person becomes the member of this firm by birth only. The member of this firm are called co-partners. The business of a joint family is managed by the senior most male member or the father, who in turn called as Karta. Before the amendment of Hindu Succession Act 2005, daughters cannot become the co-partner in joint Hindu family business. But after amendment of Hindu Succession Act 2005, now the daughters have equal right of inheritance and enjoy the same rights and liabilities in co-partnership property as a son. Now, features of joint Hindu family business firm. First is composition. Composition means who will constitute? How many people can constitute joint Hindu family firm business? Originally, only 3 successive generations in main line constituted the membership of this organization. But after the amendments in the law, now the girls are also the member of this firm. Second, no registration. Whatever is the number of members, whether it is 20, 30, 40 or 100, it is not essential for it to get it registered with the registrar of companies. It means registration is not compulsory in case of joint Hindu family business. Third feature is that management. In this, the business is generally managed by the senior most male member of a joint family, who is known as Karta. But after amendment, if the male member is not there, in that case, the senior most female member can also be treated as Karta and can manage the affairs of the business. The Karta has the authority to obtain loans against the family property or in other ways. But the co-partners have no right to manage the affairs of the business, nor they can take loans in any ways to bind joint Hindu family firm. Next feature is liability of members. The liability of Karta is unlimited, while the liability of co-partners is limited. Unlimited liability means in case of payment of any debt, the private property of Karta will be considered. Next is duration of life. The joint Hindu family business is not dissolved by the insolvency or death of co-partners or even the death of Karta. It means it has a perpetual succession or it has a long life like the company. Next is final authority. The Karta has the final authority to take all kinds of decisions. He himself makes all the policies and nobody can ask anything from him. It means he is unquestionable by co-partners. In short, one can say that he has unquestioned authority in the conduct of family business. Now, you may say that the features are also the merits of joint Hindu family business. So now I am going to discuss about the limitations of joint Hindu family business. First limitation is limited resources. As Karta is acting or he is doing the whole show, he is doing the business, he is taking the decisions, and only the family members, they become the co-partners of this joint Hindu family business. So they have limited resources. Second is lack of motivation. When Karta is there, Karta is doing all efforts to run the business, but the all profit doesn't go into his pockets. The profits is shared by co-partners in that business. So in that way, the efforts are put by the Karta and the profits, they are distributed among the co-partners. So in that way, he is less motivated to run the business successfully. Third is scope for misuse. As I told you that Karta has unquestioned authority, nobody can ask anything about how he is running the business. So sometimes when Karta is the whole sole person, having each and every type of authority to take each and every kind of decision, and nobody is there to interfere in his decisions. So sometimes he may misuse that authority and can run business according to for his own private interest. Next, fear of disintegration. when everything is done by the Karta only and he doesn't allow anybody else to participate in the business decisions. So the persons or the co-partners, they don't have interest in that kind of business. So there are chances of disintegration or cooperation among the co-partners. After understanding the meaning, merits, or you may say features and the limitations of joint Hindu family business, now I am going to start the next form of ownership, that is called partnership firm. Now what do you mean by partnership? As I told you, partnership is an association of two or more persons who agree to share or who agree to carry on business together for the purpose of sharing profits. According to Partnership Act 1932, partnership is the relation between persons who agree to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. However, the Partnership Act doesn't define the definition of partnership firm or partnership, whereas the Companies Act has defined the definition of partnership firm. The person entering into an agreement for partnership are called partners and collectively called as firm. The name in which the partnership business is carried on is carried on firm's name. The agreement which lays down the terms and conditions of partnership firm is called partnership deed, and every partner has to obey this partnership deed. The partners have to contribute capital, profits and losses as per the agreement. Now, features of partnership firm or test of partnership. Yes, what do you mean by test of partnership? Sometimes what happens when we want to analyze whether this particular form of ownership is a partnership firm or not, then we have to see certain features. If that form of ownership or that kind of business is satisfying all these conditions which I am going to mention later on simultaneously, then we may say that this business is a kind of or it is a partnership firm. And if any one of these conditions they are missing, in that case we can say that this business is not a partnership firm, rather it is something else. So what are those features which are essential to form or to test a partnership for a particular kind of business? Such features are: point number 1, 2 or more persons. It means in every partnership firm, if the business or if any business is run by 2 or more persons, it means we can say that yes, it is going towards partnership firm. Second feature is contractual relationship. As I told you that in partnership firm there is an agreement. The agreement between the partners that they will run the business together with their together capital, where they will take together decisions. So everything is done through an agreement. Whatever capital is contributed by them, whatever liabilities, whatever is the sharing of profits, everything is done through an agreement. So if any business which is run through an agreement, we can also say that there is contractual relationship among the partners. So we can say that that business is moving towards partnership. Third feature is lawful business. If the people are agreeing or they have made an agreement to conduct a legal business, only then it will be treated as a partnership firm. If 2 or more persons they join hands together to do any kind of smuggling business, that will not be treated as a partnership firm. If we see that any business who is doing legal business or lawful business, it is also moving towards partnership firm. Fourth is implied agency. Yes, before understanding the implied agency, first of all, what is agency? Agency is, there is a relationship between a principal and the agent, that whatever work is done by the agent, the principal is bound by those actions. If in any business, the persons are doing, all persons are not doing business, they are not taking active participation in that business, only few people they are doing business, and all other persons they are bound by the decisions of few people or actions of few people, it means the business is moving towards partnership firm. Next is sharing of profits. If in any business the persons are sharing profits according to the agreement, in that case we can say that the business is moving through or moving towards partnership firm. As I told you that these features are to judge or to test that whether any business is a partnership firm or not. The last feature is that no separate legal existence. If there is no separate legal existence between the partners and the firm, it means partners and the firm, they are considered as one and the same thing. Means the death, coming, admission or retirement of any partner will definitely affect the life of the partnership firm. In case of admission, in case of death, the firm also, there is reconstitution of the firm. So if all these 6 features they are present in any business, then we may say that that business is a partnership firm. If any one of them is missing, in that case we may say that it is not a partnership firm, rather than something else. Whatever may be the firm, this we don't know, but it is not, definitely it is not a partnership firm. Despite of these 6 features, now 3 more additional features are also there, which form the characteristics of partnership firm. These rest features are, 7th number is unlimited liability. As I told you that the partners and the partnership firm, they are one and the same thing. So whatever is the liability of the firm, that becomes the liability of the partners. And unlimited liability means that if the assets of the firm, they are insufficient to make payments of debts, in that case every partner individually or jointly having personal property is liable to make contribution to make the payments of such debts of that firm. So every partner is personally liable to make payment of such debts. So in that way we can say that every partnership firm has unlimited liability. Next feature is restriction on transfer of interest. It means nobody can transfer his share of partnership firm to anybody else, except the person can share or that interest to the existing partners only. This means the existing partners, if they want to transfer their interest to any outsider, they are not supposed to transfer those interest or those share, but they can transfer their share of interest to the existing members. And last feature is utmost good faith. It means whatever or whosoever is the partner of that partnership firm, they have to work with utmost good faith, and they should run the whole show for the benefit of the firm, and they should not indulge in any kind of private profits. So these are the features of partnership firm or test of partnership firm. Now the question arises, who can become the partners in the partnership firm? As I told you in the beginning, that partnership firm is created only after an agreement between the partners. So according to Indian Contract Act, an agreement should be made by competent parties only. Therefore, the persons who are competent to enter into a contract or who are competent to enter into an agreement, they can become the partners of the partnership firm. This shows that a minor, a person of unsound mind and insolvent cannot become the partner of the partnership firm. But according to agency relationship, a minor can be admitted in as a partner in the partnership firm. We can only share the profits and not the losses. As I told you, in agency relationship, the agent binds the principal according to his actions. So it is immaterial whether agent is a minor or is a major. Ultimately, responsibility lies on the shoulder of the principal only. So according to certain provisions, a minor can be admitted as a partner of the partnership firm, and he is only having the shares in the profits and not in the losses. Now this partnership agreement can be an oral agreement or can be a written agreement, but in order to prove or to serve as an evidence, the agreement should be in writing only. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very productive session. Dear friends, for feedback, you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in. We would be meeting again and would be discussing on another topic under the series Business Organization Management. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.